one type of process, data mining process you can say. So we talked about that CRISP process, and we talked about earlier to that we talked about again some basic concepts from the first unit itself, right? So maybe we will try to finish this one. So as you can see, we talked about this particular point last time, CRISP data mining, right? So and before that we have seen this KDD process model. So these are some important points I can say for exam point of view also. So CRISP and KDD model, right? Knowledge discovery data. These are some of the most important points I can say. And before that, we already seen what is data mining concepts or data mining technologies, right? And the complete data mining process. So KDD process actually tells you about data mining process itself. Okay. So talking about this particular point, this CRISP. So I hope you remember what is the full form of this particular thing. Anyone tell me? Can you tell me what is the full form at least? What is the full form of this particular term? Chris, anyone remember that?
Sir, cross industry standard process.
Right. Cross industry standard process for data mining. That is nothing but CRISP. So we have seen is it's actually a process for data mining, and it's an open source or open standard process model which actually describes common approaches which are used by data mining experts. Okay, so we have seen those approaches, and it is this particular model. I can say this CRISP model is mostly used in analytics. So you will follow the people who work as data analysts, business analysts. They sometimes they will come across this particular model, which is mostly used in data analytics. Okay. Now after that, we talked about this particular point also, mining on different kinds of data. So if you people remember here, we talked about something like flat files. Right? So I told you what is the meaning of the word flat file. And flat file is actually the thing which we generally use in real time. Right. So I have given you the example. For example, you have a table like name. Right. So name and suppose marks, something like this you have. Now this name can be divided as it can be divided further like first name, middle name, last name. No, you cannot go and you cannot divide first name further, right? So this will be one column, this will be one column, this will be one column, and marks again will be the last column. So now this is called as a flat file. The attributes, if you are not able to divide further, right? That is nothing but flat file. So talking about this particular point, mining on different kinds of data. So in that case, we talked about flat files. Flat files was the first type of a data which we try to consider for mining on different kinds of data, right? So flat file, always remember it's going to be the first option. Always, most of the times you will see flat files only. Whenever you will get a chance to work in analytics, you will see this particular thing coming into picture. And again, obviously, other things are already there, right? We already talked about this one, relational databases, right? Yes, SQL, MySQL, Oracle databases are relational databases. SQL is like a language actually. MySQL is a database. Okay, SQL is not a database. SQL is a language, and MySQL is a database. Right? So obviously, all the data sources like data warehouse is also there. Then other transactional databases I told you, right? So transactional databases can be one of the source for data mining. Then multimedia databases, spatial databases I talked about it. Spatial. When I talked about this particular term, I given you an example that of satellite images, right? One satellite image is of huge size, maybe in gigabytes, terabytes, petabytes, and so on. Right? Time series database also we have, and WWW. These are some of the things which we talked in the last session, which are the sources for mining, for doing data mining. On you can go and you can do data mining on those kinds of data, right? So these are the examples of those kinds of data, and I hope now you are already very much aware about all those things, right? Now moving forward in this first unit itself, introduction to data mining, we will try to talk about some of the applications of data mining. Again, purely theoretical topic, okay? But yeah, as it's in your syllabus, we will try to go through that and we will try to discuss which can be what are the applications of data mining in real time. So we will try to talk about few of the applications. Actually, there are a lot of applications because you talk about any business, data mining is always going to be there, right? As data is there, obviously, most of the businesses are going to make use of data mining because every business requires something to make decisions, right? And data mining actually helps to get something to make decisions. So obviously, we need any domain you talk about, data mining is always going to be there. Okay. So talking about this particular point, applications of data mining specifically, let me just try to list down some of the applications, and we will try to talk about them one by one. Right. So whatever the applications I am going to list down, it's not like that there are only these applications. Obviously, wide number of applications are there for data mining. Okay. Now, as we have already seen that this data mining is primarily used in today's situation. It's primarily used by many companies with a strong consumer focus, right? Maybe like retail, financial, communication, and marketing organizations. So that's why I told you there are a lot of applications, right? So maybe to drill down into the transactional data, in companies' transactional data, and maybe to determine pricing, customer preferences, or maybe some what you can say product positioning, or maybe impact on sales, or maybe customer satisfaction, right? So all these points, like customer profits, so for all these points data mining can be used very efficiently, right? And with data mining, for example, if you talk about a retailer can be used can actually use point of sale records of customer purchases, right? Just to develop the products and promotions to appeal to a specific consumer segments, right? So that's why I told you, you talk about any business, data mining is always going to be there, right? Now, so if I want to name few of the domains, definitely we can go and we can discuss few of the domains where there are going to be applications of data mining. Definitely we'll talk about that because as it's your topic in your syllabus. So we will see domain wise applications also. For example, if I talk about healthcare or maybe future healthcare, so yes, definitely data mining is going to play a very very important role, and it is playing very very important role in healthcare domain, right? Or specifically, I will talk about future healthcare, I can say, because with the data, even you might be knowing that there are some models people are creating, right, with the help of some new technologies like machine learning, deep learning, AI. So there are people who are creating some technologies which will help you based on the previous data. It will help you to predict whether a person will be affected by some disease or not, right? So future healthcare or healthcare, I can say, this is one of the topmost domain where definitely data mining is being used widely, right? So data mining actually holds great potential to specifically if you talk about this particular domain, it holds a great potential to improve health systems, right? So maybe in future there is work going on actually. If you people are interested, you might be knowing that there is something called as robots, you might be knowing, but there is something called as nanobots, right? So nanobots you might have heard about. So nanobots are like very small size robots. Even they can travel in a human body, right? And they can get uh, everything about the functioning of the human body, right? And they can actually send that data to the server. So yes, obviously those things are going to be there in future, you will see, right? So that's a part of artificial intelligence. So with the data, it is possible actually. So nanobots will travel in the inside the human body, and they will get each and everything, whatever the aspect which are required for determining some diseases. Definitely, those can be achieved, right? So with the help of nanobots, data can be actually collected, and that will be used to predict whether a particular person will be affected by some disease in future or not. So many times that's why people will say that the time will come that okay, you will in advance come to know that you will in advance come to know that okay, he or she is going to suffer by this particular disease or not. Or maybe you can go and you can cure yourself by having some medicine to cure that particular disease. So in advance. So yeah, that's future actually. But maybe it can be a possibility. Who knows, right? So yeah, there is a possibility. So data mining, as that's why I told you, it holds a great potential to improve health systems. And data mining is actually it uses data and analytics to identify best practices that improve care and reduces the costs. Right. So researchers use data mining approach like multi-dimensional databases, machine learning, like soft computing, and data visualization and statistics. Right. So all these tools researchers make use of, and they try to get something out of the healthcare data. And mining or data mining can be used to predict the volume of patients in every category, right? So processes are developed that make sure that the patients receive appropriate care at the right place and at the right time. So data mining can also help healthcare insurers, I can say, to detect fraud and abuse. So as uh, there are different you might be saying, right, insurance is again one more different business. So health insurance are also there. So data mining can be very handy for healthcare insurers also, to detect frauds and to detect the abuse, right? So yes, obviously it's possible. If data is available, everything is possible in that domain, right? So that is the first application, I can say, where data mining can be used very efficiently, and that is very very important, but healthcare domain. Now, you might have heard about something called as market basket analysis, so which actually makes use of association rules. So market basket analysis, so what it does is, the best example is recommendations. So recommendation engines. With the help of market basket analysis, one will be able to create recommendation engines, right? So you take up any example, right? Netflix. So it is going to actually recommend you 10 movies more, 10, 20 more movies as per your search. YouTube videos, you might have seen recommended message. Flipkart, Amazon, right? So online, all these e-commerce sites, they are going to recommend some products, right? So if you go to Amazon and if you buy something, you might have seen, right? If you buy, suppose, a watch, so you will get a message, right? The people who bought this also bought that item. So that is nothing but what? Recommendation. So I think I talked about one algorithm also, which you can make use of to create the association rules, which can be used for market basket analysis, and that is nothing but a priori algorithm. So I think I have shown you my YouTube video also for that. So a priori algorithm is one technique or one algorithm which is used to create the association rules. So market basket analysis is just the example of that, I can say. So yes, market basket analysis is one thing which can be used to create the recommendations, and which is very very useful in the business, right? So market basket analysis is a modeling technique, I can say, which is based upon theory that if you buy a certain group of items, you are more likely to buy another group of items, right? So this technique may allow the retailer to understand the purchase behavior of a buyer. It is going to be very very important to understand behavior of the customers, right? So this information may help the retailer to know the buyer's needs, and change the store's layout accordingly, right? So whatever is in whatever the thing which is in very much demand, right? So that idea you can get, right, as a retailer, and you can accordingly make the changes in that particular product, or maybe in its look and so on. So using differential analysis comparison of results between between stores, between customers, and different demographic groups can actually be done with the help of recommendation. So depending on what location you have, where do you live, right? Geographic location. Depending on all those things also, different association rules can be found, and you can very easily go and do market basket analysis and accordingly run the business. So yes, this is also one thing where the data mining can be used very efficiently. And obviously, third most important is education. In education field also, data mining again can be used, right? So if you talk about the current situation, right? So there is a new emerging field which is called as educational data mining. You might have heard this kind of a term before also. Educational data mining, right? So which concerns with developing methods that discover knowledge from data, which is originating from educational environments, right? The goal of this EDM are identified as predicting students' future learning behavior, maybe studying the effects of educational support, right? And maybe advancing scientific knowledge about learning. So data mining can be used by an institution to take accurate decisions and also predict the results of the student. Right? For example, your college, they can come up with such a model which will help them to understand what can be the future, what will be the performance of students in future, depending on the current data or maybe historical data, right? So with the results, the institution can focus on what to teach and how to teach, right? So learning pattern of the students can be captured and used to develop techniques to teach them, right? Because you know, right, as a human being, we cannot say that everyone is same. So same applies to students also. So someone likes to read from the book, someone likes to go and search, right? Someone might not be studying continuously, but yeah, he or she can go and he can actually understand the things in less time. Someone might require some more time to understand. So these kind of patterns definitely can be understood with the help of some data, some information, and by applying data mining on that, definitely the institutes definitely can come up with some models which will understand them the behavior of the student, right? What they actually need, and where are they lagging, and what should they actually improve. So all those things definitely can come into picture with the help of educational data mining. So yes, education is another domain where data mining can be used efficiently. Right? Now, so as we were talking about the domains like healthcare, market basket analysis, which can be applied in again number of businesses, this can be applied in a lot of other domains, subdomains, I can say. And another area where this data mining can be used is manufacturing. So I can say specifically, I can say manufacturing engineering, right? So the branches like mechanical or electrical, definitely, or production. There also data mining is again very much needed. So as we know that knowledge is the best asset, right? A manufacturing enterprise would possess. So if a particular manufacturing institute, what you can say, manufacturing enterprise, right? If they want to run, definitely they require knowledge, right? They require that domain knowledge about whatever the product they manufacture. So data mining tools can be very useful to discover patterns in a complex manufacturing process, right? And data mining can be used in system level design to extract the relationship between product architecture, product portfolio, and maybe like customer needs data, right? So it can also be used to predict the product development span time or cost and maybe dependencies among other tasks, right? So if you want to develop a project, if you want to develop a product, so on which tasks the development of the product actually depends on, or how much time it is going to take, how much cost it is going to take. So this kind of models definitely, if they are developed, so manufacturing enterprise they will come to know in advance about all those things and they can plan accordingly, right? So yes, manufacturing engineering is one area where data mining definitely can be used, right? And then there comes something called as CRM. So, as all of you know, CRM is nothing but customer relationship management. Yes, CRM is again one of the most important areas where data mining is used efficiently. So, customer relationship management is all about acquiring and retaining customers, right? Or maybe improving customers' loyalty and implementing customer focused strategies. So, all those things, CRM itself is a very huge application, right? So a lot of things actually come under CRM. So to maintain a proper relationship with the customer, a business needs what we can say a customer business needs to collect data and analyze the information. So obviously, whatever the data you get from CRM systems, definitely that data is going to be very important to understand customers, to understand employees also, right? So this is where data mining plays its part. So with data mining technologies, the collected data can be used for analysis, and instead of being confused, we have to focus to retain customer. The seekers for the solution get what you can say, they will get the filtered results from the data from CRM, right? So that's why there should be uh, data mining done on CRM data. So to get all those things, to get the increased number of customers, to get the solutions right, right? So definitely, data mining is again very efficiently used in customer relationship management. So that's another area. Obviously, security, I can say, or fraud detection specifically in this particular domain also, data mining can be used, right? So you might be knowing, right? In general, billions of dollars have been lost to the action of frauds. And generally, in today's arena, if you talk about in today's situation, if you talk about everything is digital most of the times, right? So even if you talk about transactions, bank transactions, so most of the times the people are using online systems. So there is a chance of fraud. So again, for detecting the frauds, data mining is going to play a very important role, right? So here, traditional methods of fraud detection are actually time consuming and complex. So if you people are interested in security and surveillance kind of thing, definitely you might have heard about different techniques which can be actually used to, we can say, to avoid fraud or to detect fraud. So the methods which were used earlier, they are very time consuming, right? So data mining actually aids in providing meaningful patterns and turning data into information. So any information that is valid and useful in knowledge, I can say data mining is going to provide that, right? So what I can say is a perfect fraud detection system should actually protect information of all the users, right? So you might have heard about something called as supervised, unsupervised kind of methods, right? So a supervised method includes collection of sample records actually. So these records are classified fraudulent or non-fraudulent. So you might be knowing there are different approaches in machine learning domain actually. One is called as supervised learning approach, another one is called as unsupervised learning approach, and something else is called as a reinforcement learning approach. So in case of supervised, what happens is you are aware about input as well as the output, the features as well as the target. Unsupervised learning, that means you are not aware about input and nor the output. And reinforcement learning actually it deals with, if I want to give example of reinforcement learning approach, robotics or driverless cars. So these kind of applications come under reinforcement. So what am I saying is, in case of fraud detection, a supervised method includes collection of sample records, right? So where we have data in terms of tabular format, in terms of input and output, I can say. So it includes connection of some sample records. So these records are classified as fraudulent or non-fraudulent. So yes, that can be an example of classification, right? So for developing the classification models to detect the frauds, data mining is going to be very vital. So a model is built using this data, and algorithm is made to identify whether the record is fraudulent or not. So maybe if you people have tried to develop some machine learning models which come under classification models, right? So those models will help to detect whether there is a, if you have a transaction data, and then whether that transaction is fraud transaction or not. So similarly, you can use this kind of a thing in other domains. For example, to identify a patient, whether the patient is affected by COVID-19 or not, right? Positive or negative. So yes, classification models can be used. Similarly, classification models can be used in case of fraud detection in what I can say, financial domain, right? So classification models actually, which are actually developed with the help of data mining only, can be used in this domain, any domain you talk about. Classification models can be developed, right? So fraud detection is the best example where you can make use of data mining to develop this kind of models. Okay. Now, again, there are different. Uh, there might be different areas where these kind of techniques can be
Sir,
built.
fraud detection and anomaly detection are, I think so similar, no? Anomaly detection and fraud detection.
Not actually. Let me give an example of anomaly detection. See, what do you understand by anomaly first? What is the meaning of the word anomaly?
Sir, something different if we happens which is not
Right.
similar what we have in data. That
So let me give a simple example of anomaly. So I think we have actually worked on one project which was anomaly detection in video. Right. So now you know that there are different CCTV cameras installed, right, for security purposes. So our target was to detect anomaly in the video. Now, what do you mean by that? That means if something unusual happens, suppose if some person is trying to hit someone, so what will happen is that CCTV camera is going to identify that particular thing, something unusual. So if two people are just walking side by side and nothing is, not all the things are going normal, right? But if someone is coming with a knife and just doing something unusual, so that is nothing but anomaly, right? So anomaly is something unusual. Yes, I can say, right? Anomaly is something unusual, which can be similar to fraud detection to some extent. But generally we use this kind of a term in case of healthcare, in case of financial law, right? This one will be used. And anomaly in general is something unusual, right? So if something so you take any example, right? You take any example. So if there is accident, so that is unusual. That's an anomaly. Are you able to understand the difference between these two? fraud detection to some extent I can say it's same, but it will be most of the times used for textual and numerical kind of a data. This one.
Yes,
This
sir.
will be used for that kind of a data, video. Okay, so that's the example you can remember for. But yes, meaning wise they are same, fraud or anomaly. So fraud means what? Here you are trying to actually what you can say there will be a loss of someone in terms of money. So generally in terms of that kind of a domain, financial domain, we use this fraud. Otherwise, if you go dictionary wise meaning, you might get the meaning as same, right? But yes, you can remember this example for anomaly detection. So our problem statement was detecting anomalies in video. That was the problem statement. So that's why I actually given you the same reference, anomaly detection. Okay. Now coming to the next, coming to the next area where this kind of where data mining can be very efficient or can be used. So as we have seen fraud detection, something related to that, something similar to that is nothing but intrusion detection, right? So intrusion detection is also one of the applications, or one of the areas where data mining can be used. Intrusion detection. So what is intrusion? Let's try to see that, and then we will try to talk about intrusion detection. So any action that will actually comprise the integrity and confidentiality of a resource is actually an intrusion, right? So if someone is trying to steal something confidential, so that's an intrusion. So you might have heard about virus. So it is something similar to that. So in terms of operating system, right? You might have heard about virus. So there are intrusions also, intruders, right? So an action that will comprise integrity and confidentiality of a resource is nothing but an intrusion, I can say. The defensive measure to avoid an intrusion is, which includes like user authentication. That means you should have a password, strong password, which consists of wide characters and numbers and lowercase and uppercase alphabets, right? So if you want to avoid this, right? So maybe you need to avoid programming errors, or maybe you need to protect the information. So data mining can help improve intrusion detection by adding a level of what you can say a level of focus to anomaly detection. A level of focus to anomaly detection. Just now we are seeing anomaly detection, right? It's also like a fraud. So it helps an analyst to distinguish this particular thing. Data mining, it helps an analyst to distinguish an activity from common everyday network activity, right? So data mining also helps extract data which is more relevant to the problem which you want to solve, right? So try to understand. Intrusion is like what I can say, stealing confidential data, right? So obviously to protect that particular thing, to avoid this particular thing, definitely data mining can be very, very useful. So one example can be lie detection, right? So lie detection can come under this kind of application, I can say. So apprehending a criminal is actually easy, whereas bringing out the truth from the criminal is difficult. So in that case, lie detectors you might have heard about, or you might have seen this in some TV shows or in movies. So they use lie detector, right? So data mining can be again useful there. So law enforcement can actually use data mining techniques to investigate crimes, monitor communication of suspected terrorists, and so on. So this actually filed what you can say, which includes this also includes mining or data mining. Right? So this process seeks to find meaningful pattern in data, which is usually unstructured text, I guess. We already talked about unstructured data, right? So the data sample collected from previous investigations are compared, and a model for lie detection is created. And with this model, processes can be created according to the necessity. Whatever is required according to that, the models are created. But yes, it also makes use of data mining. Okay, so another area can be customer segmentation, where I can say data mining again can be used efficiently. So this could be customer segmentation. Okay, sorry for that. Customer, okay. Customer segmentation. Now, what is this? What do you mean by customer segmentation? So we know that traditional market research may help us to segment customers, right, or divide customers. But data mining goes in deep and increases market effectiveness. So data mining actually aids in aligning the customers into distinct segment and can tailor the needs according to the customers, right? So market is always about retaining the customers, right? Without customers, there is no market. So data mining allows to find a segment of customers based on vulnerability and the business, right? So whatever can be offered to them with a special offers and some satisfaction, I can say. So definitely data mining is going to be very, very useful in customer segmentation, just to divide the customers according to the need, or just to uh, divide the customers according to different types of offers. So which customers prefer which types of offers, or are customers willing to go for this kind of offer? So yes, definitely that can be actually done very efficiently with the help of customer segmentation, for which data mining can play a very, very important role. And obviously, last I can say, not last, there are again more number of examples you can go for. Financial banking, definitely. In case of financial banking, again, uh, this data mining is going to be very, very important, right? So as I talked about that, if you talk about current situation, everything is digital, and obviously transactions, most of the times you will see that we try to do them online, right? Whether it's Google Pay, Phone Pay, or we do net transactions. So you will see that everything is actually online. So with computerized banking, everywhere huge amount of data is supposed to be generated, and it is generated with new transactions every day, right? So if you just talk about one city, how many number of transactions, right, are there? We cannot think of. Just go for complete state, maybe go for country. So a lot of data is being generated day by day, right? So data mining can actually contribute to solving business problems in banking and finance by finding different patterns, by finding different what you can say casualties, and maybe and correlations in business information and market prices that are not immediately apparent to managers, right? So because the volume of data is too large, or is generated too quickly to screen by experts. As a human, we cannot go and we cannot understand everything from that particular data. And that's why data mining is going to be very, very useful to save the time and to get the accurate results, to get the accurate patterns. Right? For example, the managers may find these information for better segmenting, targeting, or maybe acquiring and retaining and maintaining a profitable customer. So definitely in financial domain, financial banking, definitely data mining is at most important, right? So like this, you can have other areas also where data mining again can be very, very useful, like corporate surveillance, right? So here also data mining can be very, very useful. So what is corporate surveillance actually? It is corporate surveillance is the, what you can say, monitoring of a person or group's behavior by corporation, right? So the data collected is of most often used for marketing purposes, or sold to other corporations, but is also regularly shared with government agencies, right? So it can be used by business to tailor their products desirable by their customers, or maybe the data can be used for direct marketing purchases, such as targeted advertisements on Google, or maybe on Yahoo, I can say, right? So where ads are targeted to user of the search engine by analyzing their search history and emails and so on. Maybe by analyzing their social media accounts and so on. So for corporate surveillance, definitely data mining again is going to be very, very important, right? And if you talk about research, again data mining is there. So specifically, if you go and if you try to talk about a research analysis, so for research analysis, again, without data we cannot go for research, right? So uh, if you have data, and if you are going to do a research, for example, if someone is doing some research, obviously data will be generated, and that's why there is the need to go and to analyze that research, right? So history shows that we have witnessed revolutionary changes in research. If you talk about current situation, so data mining is helpful in data cleaning, data processing kind of things, or maybe integration of different databases, or maybe pulling out data from different sources. Data mining is going to be very, very useful. So researchers actually can find any similar data from the database that might bring any change in the research, right? So identification of any co-occurring sequences and the correlation between any activities can be done. So the terms like data visualization, right? You will come across all these terms, maybe or something like similar to this one is something like visual data mining, I can say. So it provides us with a clear view of the data, and which actually helps in analyzing the researchers' work, I can say, which is very again very important, right? And obviously, in case of criminal investigation, I can say again data mining is going to be it is going to play very important role. Right?
Sir,
Criminal,
forensic
yes. Forensic
forensic
department may make use of data mining. So criminology, yes, it is related to that particular. So criminology is actually what? It's a process that aims to identify crime characteristics, right? So actually, crime analysis includes exploring and detecting crimes and their relationships with the criminals. So in this case, also again, high volume of data is generated, right? So the high volume of crime data sets and also the complexity of relationship between these kinds of data have actually made criminology an appropriate field for applying uh, data mining techniques, right? So text-based crimes, I can say, crime reports can be converted into word processing files. So this information can be used to perform crime matching process, right? So that's the thing, but that kind of a thing can be done in forensic kind of a department. They also make use of data mining. They can make use of data mining, or I can say criminal investigation. For this one, definitely, data mining is again very important, right? And obviously, last but not the least, I can say bioinformatics. So bioinformatics is the most suitable thing where I can say data mining kind of technique can be very useful. Right? So data mining approaches seem to actually they seem ideally suited for this. I can say for bioinformatics since it's a data rich area. I can say data rich domain. Bioinformatics generate a lot of data. So mining biological data actually helps to extract useful knowledge from massive data sets which is gathered in biology and in other related life sciences areas such as maybe like medicine and neuroscience, right? So applications of data mining to bioinformatics include the applications like maybe to find out the genes, right? Gene finding, I can say, or maybe uh, to find out protein function, right? Protein function inference, or maybe disease diagnosis, maybe disease prognosis, disease treatment optimization, or maybe protein and gene interaction network reconstruction. So data cleaning or data cleansing, I can say, and location prediction are some of the techniques which definitely can be very handy in case of bioinformatics, which is one area where a lot of data will be generated. Actually, it is generated. So researchers can make use of data mining in this field, right? So the engineers also they can make use of this thing to create the models which will help doctors to understand, or maybe doctors to understand what will happen in future depending on the history. So these are some of the areas which I can actually put as applications of data mining. So we have discussed all these things just to expand this particular point, applications of data mining. So we started with this one, right? So at least again, it's not limited to this one. I just listed on 13. There are a lot of applications you will find out. Okay, so healthcare, market basket analysis, education, manufacturing, customer relationship management, fraud detection, intrusion, right? Customer segmentation, financial banking, corporate surveillance, research analysis, crime investigation, and bioinformatics. These are some of the areas where data mining is going to be very handy. And I can say, or otherwise, in other words, we can say these are some of the applications of data mining which can be listed. Okay. And now let's try to see this last point from this particular unit, first unit, challenges of data mining. So let's try to discuss the challenges in general, which can be the challenges. And again, see, these challenges actually again depend on data itself. What type of a data you are going to get from the source, what type of data you are going to import, ingest, right, into your system for doing data analytics or for doing data mining. So all these challenges actually depend on that domain, I can say, or what type of data you are going to get from that particular domain. So again, these challenges also they can vary. It's not like that whatever the challenges I will talk about only these are the possible challenges. No. So there might be more number of challenges as compared to what we will talk. So though data mining is very powerful, right, it also faces many challenges during its implementation because data is not going to remain same. It is going to the people will require domain knowledge about that particular domain, right? So domain knowledge is also going to play very very important role, or domain is also going to play very very important role to list down the different challenges of data mining which you might face. So the challenges could be related to performance, sometimes I can say, or what I can say is it may be related to data, as I said, it can be related to methods, or it can be related to techniques which are used, right? And so on. So we cannot say what kind of a challenge can be there for data mining. So the data mining process becomes successful when the challenges or issues are identified correctly and they are sorted out properly. Then only we can say that the data mining process is somewhat successful. Okay. So just to assure that we are 100% on the right track, obviously we try to go and we try to play with the data and we try to identify what's wrong with the data. So those are nothing but what? Those are nothing but challenges. And at point of time when you will see and you will go and you will try to find out what's the problem with the data. So definitely in that case, we are going to come across different challenges. Right. So for example, there can be a challenge like maybe your data is noisy. Whatever the data we got from the customer, or maybe whatever the data you got from the source is noisy data, or I can say noisy and incomplete, right? Noise means what? Noise in terms of data is nothing but you have unwanted data. You still have something which is not wanted and it is there, right? So that can be the first challenge which we might face before going for data mining. So noisy and incomplete data, definitely. And this is what is going to happen in real time. It's not like that every time we are going to get the accurate data. Actually, we never get correct data or accurate data. So that's why there is this pre-processing and all those things that should be done. So suppose the first challenge is like noisy and incomplete data. Okay, so let me try to talk about this particular point. What is noisy and what is incomplete data? So as data mining is the process of extraction or extracting the information from large volumes of data, the real world data is heterogeneous, incomplete and noisy, right? So data in large quantities normally will be inaccurate or unreliable. So these problems could be due to like errors of instruments that measure the data, or maybe because of human errors. So the reason of getting this noisy or incomplete data might depend on the instruments which we use to get the data, right? Or maybe because of some human errors. So suppose, for example, maybe a retail chain collects the email ID of customers who spend suppose more than maybe 200, $300, right? So they collect the email ID of all the customers. So whosoever has done a purchase of more than suppose $300, so a retail chain actually is going on collecting the email IDs of those people. And the billing staff enters the details into their system. Right? Obviously, there will be a separate billing staff who is going to enter all the details of the billing. So they are going to enter the details of those customers who purchased more than $300. So billing staff is entering all the details into the billing system or the system. So the person might make spelling mistakes while entering the email ID, which results in incorrect data actually. Right? So if there is a mistake in email ID, then obviously it will be incorrect data. So even some customers might not be ready to disclose their email ID, which actually results in incomplete data, and that data we call actually as missing data, right? And specifically, if you talk about R language, so missing data is also called as NA, not allowed. So R actually represents missing data as NA, and which is similar to null. And I think we talked about null. Okay, so if someone is not ready to share their email ID, right, even though they have made a purchase more than $300, but they are not ready to share their email ID. So in that case, what will happen in front of his or her name, the email ID field is going to be missing. So again, it's an incomplete data. That's the example of incomplete data, right? So the data even could get altered due to system or human errors. So as a human being, we are trained to make mistakes, right? So many times it will happen that the person who is trying to enter all the details of the customers, he or she might make some mistake, right? So yes, there might be some changes in the data itself. So obviously, as human beings are there are going to be mistakes. It's for sure. So all these results in noisy data. whatever we talked about, all these things actually result in noisy data. Okay, so and maybe noisy and incomplete data, which actually makes the data mining really challenging. So noisy and incomplete data, which involves missing data, wrong data, altered data, right? So that data, with the help of that data, if you go and if you try to create some prediction model or classification model for business purpose, definitely getting the correct information and cleaning the data or pre-processing the data or doing data mining on the data is going to be very challenging. So that's the first challenge. Noisy and incomplete data is the first challenge in data mining. Now, another type can be distributed data. So let's see what is distributed data. So for this, you might be knowing that suppose for example, if you people have joined from your laptop, right? Now that means you have joined from your local machine, okay, local machine, and whatever the data is there on your machine, so that data is local to you. Okay, that data is local. That means you only as a user can access that data, right? Now what happens is in terms of applications, if you talk about, for example, just talk about WhatsApp data, right? Just talk about WhatsApp data. You talk about any server, for example. You talk about any server. Just maybe just take the example of Unipoly, University of Pune, right? So whatever the information, suppose I want to access or you want to access, you can also go and access. I can also go and access. So the information is distributed. That data is distributed in that case, right? So that type of data is called as distributed data. So anyone can access from any place. Data is distributed. Data is actually available on different clusters. Okay, cluster is nothing but group. So real world data is usually stored on different platforms in distributed computing environment. So I don't know whether you know it or not. So there are different file systems which we use for storing the data onto local systems. So those who try to format their machine or laptop, they might be knowing about file system. Anyone any idea about what is file system in computer? It's a basic term, file system. Have you anyone heard about this particular term, file system? Any idea about that? Or as you people are using, suppose Windows operating system, anyone is using, suppose, or what type of file system Windows makes use of? Okay, Prashant is saying no. Okay, so file system is like which allows you to create files and folders on your operating system. So you might have heard about something like FAT or FAT32. These are the initial file systems, file allocation table. Now you might have heard about something called as NTFS, and this is what we use for Windows operating system. One thing almost everyone has done, I am sure for that, you must have formatted your pen drive or USB drive, right? You must have formatted your pen drive or USB drive. So what do you mean by
Yes, sir.
format? So format means what? Format means give a format, give a structure to your pen drive or USB drive. And if you people carefully check, it is, when you click that checkbox, click format, right? There will be a default option and which will be FAT. So this is nothing but one file system. So without file system also you can store the data on the hard disk. Onto hard disk you can store the data without file system also, but that data will be meaningless. That means you will not be able to separate the data into files and folders. It is because of file system only that you are able to create different files and folders onto your operating system. So what happens is, as you are using local file system, that's why you are able to see your data. And similarly, there is something called as distributed file system. That means your data is distributed onto different sources on servers. So you might maybe if you work in analytics, you might come across something called as HDFS. Is the best example of distributed file system. DFS is distributed file system. So that's why I talked about file system, distributed file system, and HDFS is nothing but Hadoop distributed file system, where actually the data is distributed into different onto different servers. Okay, don't worry about this particular part actually. If you are not aware about, don't worry. But yes, we actually generally use all file systems in our daily life if you come across using a computer or pen drive or something like that. Okay, or storage. So definitely, file system is behind creating the files and folders. So distributed data can be one of the other challenge in data mining. So real world data is usually stored on different platforms, right, in distributed computing environment. And it could be in data sets, maybe individual systems, or in even on the internet. So it is practically very difficult to bring all the data to centralized data repository, and mainly due to organizational and technical reasons. For example, different regional offices might be having their own servers to just what you can say, to store their data, whereas it will not be feasible to store all the data, right? And data is actually millions of terabytes of data from all the offices in a central server. So data mining demands the development of tools and algorithms that enable mining of distributed data. So many times it will be a challenge to get the data at one place and then apply data mining on that, right? And then there comes something called as complex data. So many times you will see complex data. So as real world data is really heterogeneous and it could be multimedia data including images, audio and video, complex data, temporal data, spatial data, time series data, or maybe natural language text, or, and so on. There are a lot of types of data, right? So it is really difficult to handle these different kinds of data and extract the required information. So most of the times, new tools and methodologies would have to be actually deployed to extract relevant information. So complex data can be one of the challenges for data mining, as data is available in different formats, right? Obviously, performance is going to be again one of the issues or challenges in case of data mining. So the performance of the data mining system actually depends on efficiency of algorithms and techniques which are used. So if the algorithms and techniques designed are not up to the mark, then it will affect the performance of the data mining process adversely, right? And it is going to actually affect the whole business. Okay, so yes, performance can be again one more challenge for data. So maybe many times you will see there will be a challenge like incorporation of background knowledge. So for example, what I mean to say here is incorporation of knowledge or background knowledge. Now, what do you mean by this? So, if the background knowledge can be incorporated, more reliable and accurate data mining solutions can be actually found. So, descriptive tasks can come up with more useful findings, and some tasks, predictive tasks, can make more accurate predictions. So, but collecting and incorporating background knowledge is a complex process, right? So, background knowledge means what? Knowledge about that particular domain or the area, I guess. And obviously, with all these things, how can we forget this particular thing? Data visualization is again one more challenge in data mining. So data visualization is very important process in data mining because it is the main process that displays the output in what you can say in presentable manner to the user. The information extracted should actually convey the exact meaning of what it actually intends to convey. But many times what will happen, it is really difficult to present to represent the information in an accurate and easy to understand way to the end user. So the input data and the output information being really complex, very effective and successful data visualization techniques need to be applied to actually make it successful. So again, this is also one challenge for data mining. And obviously, as data is there, right? So data privacy is again very necessary, and again that's a big challenge. Data privacy and I can say security, which is again very important, right? So data mining normally leads to very serious issues in terms of security, privacy, and governance. For example, when a retailer analyzes the purchase details, it reveals information about buying habits and preferences of customers without their permission, and that's what is happening right now, right? If you go and if you try to see what Flipkart and Amazon they are doing, they are just trying to understand the buying habits of the customers, right? So, and our data is actually, you might be knowing that the companies, I think I talked about the bigger companies like Facebook and Google. So what they do actually, they actually run their business on data only, right? Even though they are providing a lot of products as free. For example, Google provides Gmail as free, Google Drive as free, and so on. But still, Facebook doesn't charge any money to create a Facebook account, right? Because once they get your data, they know that what are you doing, where are you going, which shop you are going, and so on. And that data they can sell it to some other companies, right? Like Flipkart and Amazon. Flipkart and Amazon will show you the same ads for which you have actually you are trying to post on Facebook and so on. So this is what is happening. So in that case, security and privacy is going to be a very bigger challenge for data mining, right? So In a short, I can say there are many more challenges in data mining in addition to all these challenges, right? So more challenges get revealed as the actual data mining process starts, and the success of data mining lies in overcoming all these challenges. So whether data is noisy and incomplete data, it's a challenge. Distributed data, complex data, performance is going to manage performance of data mining, incorporation of the knowledge, background knowledge, data visualization, and privacy and security. So these are some of the challenges which we have listed down here, but again, still I will say it's not like that these are the only challenges. There are a lot of challenges which are possible. As and when data mining starts, more and more challenges are going to be revealed, right? So these are some of the points which I wanted to discuss, and I think we are done with this first unit, right? Again, it was a full theoretical unit. After this, what I will try to do is I will try to talk about some of the points which we will actually go and understand. Like for example, whatever we will require to develop the model. So if you go and if you try to see second unit also, it is again theoretical kind of unit. But yeah, I will try to show you how to handle missing data, data visualization. Practically, I will also try to show you. So from second unit, we will try to make use of either R or Python just to understand all these points, missing values, data cache. So I will try to show you all these things practically. But I hope you can understand all these things even if you go and if you read. But I will explain the concepts. I will try to explain the concept as practically as possible, so that once you move to this particular thing, we can develop the model, right? Most of these things are actually available on my YouTube channel also. Association rules, what type of algorithm you can use. Because see, why am I telling you is, otherwise I will directly go and I will try to show you implementation of all these things, right? So let's see, maybe in the next session we will try to talk about data understanding and data preparation, where we will see overall we will try to talk about data pre-processing part, I think. Okay, so that's it from my side today. Any question? Anyone? Let me check if everyone present or not. Just send your seat numbers. I think there were 11 people earlier. Right now there are 10. 9. Okay. Just send your seat numbers, roll numbers in the chat box.
Sir, Jaideep was present, but I think so he has gone for the dinner. So he told
Send
me.
its seat number also. Or just
Okay,
send
sir.
it, or just send its name also, no problem.
Okay,
Because
sir.
I will be having all this data for you. Yeah, I think almost everyone done. Anyone remaining? Okay. Okay, then that's it. We will meet in the next session. Okay, we'll try to start with the second unit. Okay, bye. I'll stop.
Bye, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, bye. Thank you.